We have an expression in English, like a fish out of water. This means somebody who is totally out of their normal environment. So you may say a young person without their smartphone is like a fish out of water. When I say thank you to some of my Chinese friends, they would say, you don't have to thank me, which I believe in Chinese is pu ying xia. I mean, that's okay, but you could also say you're welcome, or that's all right, or a looser expression would be no worries. When I say thank you, this splendid building behind me in Pall Mall, central London, is the Oxford and Cambridge Club. To become a member of this club, you would have had to have gone to either Oxford or Cambridge University. It's a splendid building. Inside they have a wonderful restaurant, a beautiful library.
I'm Sir Benjamin Slade, and this is Maudsell House in Somerset, and it's the ancestral seat, and this place goes back to Roman times, although Alfred the Great came here in 878 AD, and he only stayed for one night and went off to fight a battle. But we've had several people like Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer, staying here, Queen Matilda and a few other fellas, and it's great fun. It's a very good party house.
We have an expression in English, there are plenty more fish in the sea. It's similar to a Chinese expression, zhen wai you zhen. If you're good at something, people say, well, you're very good at that, but you could say, well, there are many other people like me who are just as good or even better. So there are plenty more fish in the sea.
This is my ancestor, Sir John Slade, who was the first baronet. And as you can see, he's highly decorated, but he was the worst general in the British Army. He ran away from several battles, and he didn't like fighting, but he's the family hero.
My name's William Addington, and I'm with my friend Justin Glass. This evening we're at a concert. It's been especially extraordinary, the talent and the music here. Several highly talented and quite young pianists and a wonderful choir. The whole thing, I believe, been organised by Bei Wang. Do you have a few words to say?
Well, only that it's a most marvellous bridge between the East and the West. I mean, the music is in many places the same, but what one couldn't but help see was not just the melodic content of the pieces chosen, but the extraordinary technical virtuosity, the fiendish complexity of the pieces that were beautifully played tonight. And my suggestion to the audience was that they keep the handbills, because 10 years from now we'll see some big stars.
I'm Sir Benjamin Slade, and this is Maudsell House in Somerset. And this room is where we do the parties, the weddings, and whatever, big conferences, and we can seat 100 people on round tables, and we have an extension that we put on. So this is the room that makes the money, that pays the bills.
Chinese, I believe you have an expression, sha da yu, which means big rain. Some of my Chinese friends literally translate this to big rain, but in English we would say it's pouring with rain, or there's very heavy downfall of rain, or an inundation. Chinese.
This is the second wife of the first baronet. I descend from the first wife of the baronet, and so we don't like this woman. She came here and didn't like the furniture, the gold, the silver and the money, and so she stole everything, and it took 170 years for me to go and have to buy it back. I had to buy 6 tons of books and all the pictures and everything as well. It's been a terrible time. I don't like that woman, but I had to buy a picture. Then I had to restore it.
Today I'm standing outside Buckingham Palace, which is probably one of the first places any tourist to this country visits. It's the residence of our Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. If you can notice, on top of the palace is a flagpole, and the flag flying today is the Royal Standard, which is her personal flag, which means she is in residence here. If she's not in residence, they normally fly the Union Jack. Today I'm
This is our dining room, which is great fun. The table is over 400 years old. It's made of walnut and it takes 4 people to lift it. And here we have some of the ancestors on the wall. This is our
In English, we have an expression, beating around the bush. This means you're not getting to the point. You're not getting directly to what you're trying to say. So you could say to somebody, look, come to the point. Tell me exactly what you think. Stop beating around the bush.
We have 300 hats here. As you can see, when we have a party, everybody has a few drinks and they want to wear a special hat, including you. Now keep quiet. And there are 300 in total of every different type of helmet or hat, whatever the occasion. And they all get worn every time I have a party here. We have
Now this enchanting fishing village is about 4 or 5 hours drive from London in Devon, North Devon, in the southwest of England. It is visited by tourists from all over the world, from Japan to America. Its history is fascinating. Its history is linked with Matilda, William's wife, William the Conqueror's wife in the 11th century, who owned it once. The Gifford family, the Carey family and the Hamlin family. We are by chance descendants of the Hamlins, and my brother John Rouse now runs and owns the village. It's the most amazing place. Now
This is where we have pictures of our dogs and horses in this little passage here that we've had, and various girlfriends. My horses are up here, which is way, and I used to hunt a lot, but I'm retired now.
If you look behind me, people are having a picnic. We call it a picnic. It's where you go out to the countryside, probably on a summer's day or afternoon at the weekend, take food, wine, drinks, sit on the grass or on a rug and enjoy speaking to your friends and the convivial company. This we call a picnic. If you look behind me, you'll see a white tent, which for special events like weddings or parties, for people to dance and eat in. This particular type of tent we call a marquee. Behind me you'll see a white tent, which are set up for special events like weddings or parties, for people to dance and eat in. This particular type of tent we call a marquee. Today I'm standing outside Victoria Station. It's named after Queen Victoria. I think this terminal was opened in 1860. This station covers or services the south and southeast of England. So if ever you come to London and want to catch a train to the coast or anywhere in the south or southeast, this is one of the stations you can use, amongst others. Today I'm standing behind me on this busy street, which is known as Pall Mall in central London, is the Royal Automobile Club. We call it the RAC Club. This club was established, I believe, in the early 1900s for motorists as an organisation to assist them, and also they would come and repair your car if you broke down anywhere in the country. Behind me on this busy street, which is known as Pall Mall in central London, is the Royal Automobile Club. We call it the RAC Club. This club was established, I believe, in the early 1900s for motorists as an organisation to assist them, and also they would come and repair your car if you broke down anywhere in the country. Behind me we have an expression in English, big fish. It means a man or a woman who's very important, very influential, who, if you want to do something, for instance, can be very helpful, can make sure it gets done. They're a big fish. We have an expression. These gates here are made of a material which is we call wrought iron. It's an early form of the metal iron. It's not steel, and it's made by hammering constantly a red-hot billet of iron until it's more malleable, and then it's produced in this style here. These when you come to London, like most big cities, we have an underground railway system. It's called London Underground, but you can also call it the subway. But myself and my friends, we would call it the tube. So there you are. If someone mentions the tube, it means underground. This is interesting. I've come across these. They're traps for lobsters. They're called lobster pots. They're taken out in a boat and they have bait in, like dead fish in here, and the lobsters climb in through here and they can't get back out. And the fishermen then go out, pull these up, and that's how they catch their lobster. This is interesting. We believe the word chopsticks for these utensils, or eating utensils, in China is derived from Chinese Pidgin English, chop chop, meaning quickly. We believe in England we have an expression, I'm getting a little tipsy, or I don't want to be tipsy, which tipsy means I've probably had a little too much to drink, a little too much alcohol. So if you say I'm feeling tipsy, it means you've had a little too much of this. In England today, myself and my team are so pleased. We've now achieved our 200,000th follower. And many millions of views in mainland China. This is a great milestone for us and a wonderful pleasure for us here in London. So I'd like to celebrate with this delicious Italian Prosecco sparkling wine and say Gambay to China. Gambay, China. And please, if you have any ideas or suggestions for our site, please leave comments below. Today, we call this particular animal a donkey, and you've probably seen many in China, and they're used to carry goods or people in the past. But now Eli, he lives here in Clovelly with his friends, other donkeys. We would call an animal that carries goods or people a beast of burden, meaning an animal that carries weights or goods. In English, we have an expression, lose face, which origins lie in the Chinese expression, diu la nian za. I believe I've got that nearly right, meaning lose face. That's another example of the Chinese language having an influence on the English language. In English,
this is the Monmouth room, which was my old bedroom. And actually you can rent this room, you can rent the whole house. We do lots of parties and have lots of fun here. And it's a great room. There is so much light, and indeed all the rooms are absolutely fabulous. This is Lady Slade's room, and this traditionally is the bedroom of the lady of the house, or the wife of the baronet. And it's great fun, and it's a lovely big room, and it has its own separate bathroom, and a beautiful view out into the park. This is the hall at Maunsell House, and these are some of our weapons, and these are the two twins who are my ancestors, and nobody knew which one came out first. There was a big argument which ended up with 4 years in the High Court. This is the hall at Maunsell House, and these are some of our weapons, and these are the two twins who are my ancestors, and nobody knew which one came out first. There was a big argument which ended up with 4 years in the High Court. This is the hall at Maunsell House, and these are some of our weapons, and these are the two twins who are my ancestors, and nobody knew which one came out first. There was a big argument which ended up with 4 years in the High Court. This is the hall at Maunsell House, and these are some of our weapons, and these are the two twins who are my ancestors, and nobody knew which one came